Hey, hello everyone. Welcome everyone. I guess one of the first things that we always need to check is that you can hear us. So, if anybody from our friends, in the audience, maybe can just say, yes, we can hear you loud and clear, Orlando. Can you? Fantastic. Thank you for that, Shumara. Absolutely. Thank you, Shumara. So, hello and welcome everyone. So great to see you as always. Great to to see you here connecting live online from the comfort of your, well, nowadays it could be your home, it could be your car, it could be your office, it could be in my case, and I'm connecting from my home office. So this is one of the things that I do in my free time, just connecting live and welcoming our audience, in this round of webinars. Remember that we're doing this for you, so it's incredibly great to see everybody connecting right now. We're also streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. In case people cannot make it, right here live online, but we're also streaming live. And today, I would like to welcome one of my greatest colleagues, and partners in crime in this world of ELT. So I think most of you know him. He might have been one of your tutors, if we had the pleasure of working with you in a teacher training course or a program or a BA program. So far, you might remember him. So he is Ricardo Fajardo, and he's been, part of the International House University for quite some years now. I want to say we go back a long time, and he's I think he's one of our most engaging, best, helpful trainers that we've got on staff, at International House University. He's a CELTA trainer. He's also a CELTA assessor, assessing other courses or the centers around the world. And he's also now, since the start of this year, he's also tutoring on our first degree program, completely online, and also on our Delta programs, our Delta Module 2 and Module 1 courses. So welcome, Ricardo. It's great to see you today. Can you hear us fine?
I can hear you perfectly. Thank you very much for the invite, Orlando.
Fantastic. So welcome, everyone. And today we're going to be talking about what we think is a very exciting topic, which is now going to help you equip your learners with the tools that they need to improve the learning. So Ricardo is going to tell you more about that. I'm going to come back at the end to tell you a bit more about a very, very special launch that we're going to tell you more about at the end of the session, but it's going to be amazing. It's going to be incredible. Maybe you saw a slide at the start of the webinar while you were waiting. If you want to know more about that, I'm going to come back at the end to tell you more about that. Remember that Ricardo is going to be here for the next 56 minutes. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask Ricardo, you remember to go to the bottom. There's a Q&A section at the bottom. Just go ahead, ask your questions, drop your questions there, so that Ricardo then can come back at the end of the session to answer those questions live. Okay, so thank you, everyone, and the floor is yours, Ricardo.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen and see that everything is working properly. All right. Okay, can anyone tell me that you can see this? Okay, fantastic. And okay, just the last thing, just as Orlando mentioned, it's important to make sure that you can even listen to me very well. Can you hear my voice well? Should I go up or down? Is that okay? Should I adjust the volume? It's okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Yes. Okay, guys. So basically, yes, today we're going to talk about this very important topic. Orlando was mentioning this. I mean, nowadays we're working, most of us, I think, we're working online because of the current situation. So I think it's always useful to get some learning strategies, not just for students, but I think that maybe some of these strategies can be utilized and exploited by us, by teachers, and obviously by using and learning, yes, these strategies, we can then transmit the same or use this with our students, I think, right? Okay, so let's start off. Basically, let me show you, yes, kind of the menu. So what's the menu of the day, Ricardo? So first of all, we're going to be talking about what are learning strategies in general. And obviously, this also applies to online learning strategies. Yes, kind of some concepts, some theory, yes, some terminology that is used behind the concept of learning strategies. Then as number two, we have some advantages of using strategies as we work or as we study online, especially nowadays. And then at the very end, maybe this is what everybody's waiting for, some practical ideas. I'm sure that it will be very useful to see these. These are not all of the ideas. Believe me, I was actually researching to prepare this presentation for you. We have a lot of them. We could actually have like maybe number 2 or number 3. We can actually easily, yes, organize a series, yes, of, yes, ideas, in this case, maybe some webinars just on practical ideas, guys. But obviously, I don't want you to be passive, yes, in this presentation. Yes, it's me talking most of the time, but feel free to react to what I say, feel free to react to what you read. So obviously there are some tasks for you to do as you watch me do all of this. So what are those tasks? So I want you to react to what you read or what you watch. So at any point, feel free to actually type in the chat box, reacting to what you actually hear. And then at some point, yes, I will pause what I'm saying. I will refer to your comments and I will react and answer them. So feel free to participate. Also, I mean, as you see these strategies or these concepts, I want you to identify which strategies you or your students have already maybe implemented, or maybe which ones you liked already. Yes. And last but not least, I will allow you to identify which strategies you would like your students to implement ASAP, or maybe which of these are appropriate to use in your own context. Yeah, because sometimes, I mean, we see some strategies and we say, hey, but maybe that's not quite applicable in my context, but maybe some are more than others. So that's something that I want you to do. I want you to react to what's happening here. Yes. Okay, first of all, some quick introduction. Learning strategies are very, very important. Yes. Not just online, but in general, in education. Let's take a look at this slide, which summarizes the importance of these. Yes. So first of all, I mean, these are very important to language, yes, learning, especially because as we have some keywords here, they enhance, they get students' own learning. This is important already. Yes. If we provide students with strategies, yes, I'm sure that they will feel more motivated because they will be thinking about their own progress, their own learning, how much they are benefiting from everything you do in the classroom. And usually they become more active. That's another keyword here. Yes, and they become more self-directed. Yes, they begin to make more decisions towards their own learning. So this is quite important. Yes, that's why we always need to make sure that we are using strategies, obviously the relevant ones according to our context. But in general, yes, giving our students, yes, the possibility to incorporate strategies, yes, is going to enhance, yes, the learning as such. And when we talk about strategies, yes, this is just some kind of theoretical background before we move to the practical side of this. We need to take a look at the theories. We have different kinds of strategies. Let's take a look at them. So when we refer to strategies, we can refer to different kinds. So we can refer to metacognitive, cognitive, memory, compensation, affective, and social strategies. Don't worry, guys, you don't have to memorize these. There is no final exam at the end of the webinar. Yes, but you will actually realize that some of those strategies that I will mention later, we can now later on easily categorize into some, perhaps not all, but into some of these categories, right? And when we see all of this, is like, wow, I mean, is it too difficult? Not really. Let's understand these concepts, and then it will be easier to match these concepts with the actual strategies we will see later on. So when we refer to metacognitive, yes, we involve thinking. And this is the important thing. You will notice that I have already underlined some aspects and some portions of the definitions I selected today. So In a metacognitive strategy, yes, we are thinking about our learning process. This is super important. And one thing that we can transmit immediately to students, I mean, I'm not even talking about the strategies just yet, but sometimes you have to transmit the following question to your students. Is this the right thing for me? Whenever they are doing an exercise, they can think like, is this activity easy, difficult? Does it match my personality? Does it make me understand what I'm doing much better? Or does it take me more time for me to process information? Is it a good, yes, step or procedure for me? Once they do this, actually they are activating this metacognitive strategy, thinking about what's going on in the classroom. So this is a strategy in itself. Help your students, yes, notice what works for them and what doesn't. And maybe, obviously, when they see those activities that they benefit more from, they will actually pay more attention, and definitely they will maybe get some more intake, yes, in your lessons, right? So this is important already. So that's kind of metacognitive, thinking about the process already. Then we move to the next one, which is actually the cognitive strategy. And the part that I underline here is that whenever students are involved in tasks, they need to be able, especially nowadays online, and we will see it later, yes, they need to be able to interact with the task. You know that sometimes our role is to provide, we are the sources, but we also need to be managers. And we need to make sure that the students have, yes, the possibility to directly manipulate materials and obviously interact with them. This is very important, right? Because if they interact, if they are part of the materials, if the actual, yes, exercise at the end, the result of the exercise, they will feel that they were part of that. So basically, yes, it will be more meaningful for them. That's another tip already. Make sure that your activities online, yes, are interactive. These will be promoting, yes, these cognitive strategies. We will see an example later on. Yes, and obviously, I mean, besides this, I mean, when we're thinking about cognitive strategies, this includes like kind of, again, reacting to what you see, but more importantly, and I underline this here, it's taking notes, it's summarizing. Yes, whenever we are actually, you know, part of an activity, it's very important to be taking notes. I'm sure maybe, I don't know, maybe some of you are already taking notes, yes, or are summarizing ideas in your head. If you are doing that, yes, well, actually what you are using is that you are incorporating these cognitive strategies into your own learning, right? So this is quite important. We will see how to do that online later on as well. But these are not all of them. So we have metacognitive, cognitive, but we also have, and more important than ever, I think, social strategies for learning. Learning is not something that happens automatically, and more often than not, learning doesn't happen, yes, in just one individual. It does, but actually it does better when we, yes, do this cooperative learning. So we need to make sure that there is a lot of interaction whenever we are working online, because a social strategy is simply to promote and involve peer interaction, because we are trying to achieve a common goal in learning. And the goal could be a mini goal or a gigantic goal. It could simply be solving a puzzle, or it could be finishing a project. So, but interacting is another strategy, because we're always learning from each other, from our peers, from our teachers or tutors. We're always, you know, helping each other and learning from each other. So that's quite important. And then another strategy that maybe another kind of strategy that maybe many people don't even think about is affective strategies. These are very important, and sometimes we're not even aware of this. We're working online and our affective strategies are non-existent sometimes. Yes, and this includes simply like lowering your anxiety. I have to confess here, guys, sometimes whenever, you know, like 5 minutes before I start any webinar, it's like, I'm anxious. It's like, what is going to happen? Will they understand my ideas? Well, I need to calm down because I want to transmit my ideas effectively. So I'm actually helping myself succeed in what I'm going to do. But this is part of being conscious that is going to help me actually deliver something more appropriately. So it's lowering our anxiety, encouraging ourselves, yes, and obviously taking your emotional temperature. I really love this concept. Yes, like you need to make sure that you're aware of how you are feeling whenever you are interacting and learning or teaching something. So the very first thing that you have to do, even online, yes, to promote effective strategies is to maybe spend even 5 minutes of socializing with your students. Not everything is that serious. Not everything is checking grammar, checking lexis, checking phonology. It's very good to connect with the students. The fact that we are promoting, yes, our rapport with our students is already working on them. So once they are relaxed, we can move to other activities. So, but we need to make sure that we are also helping them lower the anxiety. And this can be done in so many ways. Maybe even playing some background music at the very beginning of your lessons. Yes, that's also very practical. Yes, I'm already giving you some tips, although we will see some more later, right? And obviously when we are working online, we also have limitations. Maybe your Wi-Fi connectivity is not the best, or maybe whatever you are hearing is not very clear. So we also need to use what they call some compensation strategies. And the ones that I love, and these are underlining here, is like, hey, if you're not getting something, please ask questions, ask for help. Yes, because obviously this is going to be important. You cannot actually, yes, depart a session or leave a session with a million questions. You need to try and make sure that you benefit as much as you can. So maybe raise your hand in the session, use a gesture. Yes, make sure that your teacher understands that you have a problem. And so obviously your teacher, I'm sure, that is going to help immediately, right? So it's quite important. So let's recap. And again, as I said, these are the most important types, and it's good to understand all this theory, because then it will make more sense when we see the practical side of these strategies. But then I have some time for you to reflect, and this will be the time for you to maybe type in the chat box. Based on all of this, I will very quickly go through the slides so you remember the different concepts in here. Start thinking about this and start thinking about why all of these are important, generally speaking. All right, so we mentioned different kinds of strategies. Let's recap very quickly. Metacognitive, which involves thinking about our learning process and helping students, yes, be aware of how they are learning. We talk about cognitive strategies, which in a few words is that students need to be directly manipulating materials and creating materials themselves, being part of the process of teaching and learning, right? We also mentioned that it's important to take notes, to summarize. These are also part of those strategies. We also mentioned social strategies. We need to socialize, we need to promote interaction, because we need to try and achieve a common goal in learning. And the last dimension is affective strategies. We need to make sure that we are constantly taking everybody's emotional temperature. So I have a question for you. Oh, before that, I almost forgot. We also have these compensation strategies. So I have a question for you to react to and to type in the chat box. So it's some time to reflect, okay? Let's actually reflect on this together. So why is it important to know and use strategies, especially now online, at least for the time being? So the time being is such that we are in the middle of a pandemic situation, but why is it important to know and use strategies? So this will be the very first opportunity for you to interact a little bit with me. So I would like to read some of your answers. So how do you react to this question? I will give you about a minute and I will read some of your answers. So please feel free to do that. All right, Elizabeth says, because we need to be close, yes, to students I completely agree. Yes, we need to make sure, yes, that, yes, we are closer and closer to our students. So these strategies should actually help us do this, right? So that's really, really important. Okay, Eduardo, it's part of learning itself. Yes, I concur with you. Yes, Eduardo, it's part of learning, and not just for students, but yes, teachers as well. Elizabeth, again, because they provide students with tools to tackle each different, yes, situation. Yeah, that's important. The more tools we have, yes, Elizabeth and everyone, yes, maybe the more problems we can solve. Yes, because we are providing our students with more and more tools. Yes, Georgina says it's important to stimulate our students in many ways. Yes, I really love that answer as well. Yeah, because not every single student works in the same way. So obviously we need to try and provide our students with different ways, yes, of connecting with their own learning. Mariana says to help our students and ourselves get the best of our classes, no matter the situation. Wow, I really like that, Mariana. Yes, basically, yes, we need to help, yes, ourselves and students be successful. Yes, in a nutshell. Shomara says, if students are aware of the strategies, then they can use them with or without us. Yes, I have already given you some tips already. Help your students be aware of those, yes, already. So they're enabled to generalize skills and strategies when confronted with different topics. I really like that. Nancy says, it's important to know how to introduce our topic and make it clear to students so they can get involved in the class. Absolutely. And the key word, Nancy, in your comment is get students involved in the class. Yes, especially nowadays. Yes, classes have to be the most interactive ever. Yes, I'm sure that when we work face to face, yes, we were already interactive, but now we have to be even more, like 100% more. So we need to actually use, yes, whatever strategies and whatever tools, yes, we have out there. Eduardo, what about memory learning strategies? Yes, I concur with you. I think that they are important. Memorizing words, yes, yep, that's another possibility, Eduardo. Thank you very much for the comment. Yes, definitely memorizing can be a very good tool, and it's actually very good for some learners, yeah, especially analytical learners love memorizing that. All right, you guys, so 20 more seconds. I will be just reacting to your comments. I will give you a second opportunity to interact, yes, more fully later on. But thank you very much for your contributions already. Yes, very interesting comments already, guys. Thank you very much. All right, I will stop there. I think, okay. So obviously, I mean, there are many reasons why we need to learn strategies, but out of the so many reasons that I found online, there are 4 that actually got my attention, and those are the ones that I want to share with you. These are the ones that I found. So basically, it's important because what they do is basically these 4 things. They're going to help us save time online. I don't know if you have noticed, but time flies online. So basically, when we are doing anything online, it appears to maybe take long because we need to actually set the task. We need to share a link. We need to open this. We need to close that. So basically, if we have the right tools, we can actually save some of the time that we are maybe investing in doing all of this. Number 2, I think that we can maximize, yes, how our students are processing the content that we are presenting them with, right? So we can, yes, help them maximize this processing, this intake, so to speak. And number 3 is very important, to also minimize distractions. It's very, very easy, yes, to get distracted online. But if we get our students involved, chances are they will be less distracted, or at least they would like actually to contribute more the more they are interacting. Because if we are doing and they are listening, they have any possible distraction next to them. So if we maximize our tools, I'm sure that this will be minimized as well. And I think number 4 is also important, is also to explore our own ways to be a better learner. As I was saying, one of the metacognitive strategies is simply asking yourself if what you are doing at the moment is beneficial to you. I'm sure that maybe you're even wondering that right now. It's like, okay, I'm attending a webinar. Is this the best way for me to learn? I'm just listening to a speaker and I'm processing, yes, being silent. Is that the best way I learn? If you're already doing that, you're already kind of being more aware of your own learning process. I can tell you, I really like webinars myself, and I have attended some, but I like more interactive processes. Yes, when we have, for example, some workshops, yes, whose definition is slightly different, yes, that works better for me. But obviously, this is part of what you have to do and what your students have to do. You need to realize what works and maybe what doesn't work, or maybe what works but not as much as other things. All right, time to check some ideas, guys. And in some of these, yes, I'm going to suggest some tools that you can incorporate as of right now, as of tomorrow. Because the good thing of working online is that also there are so many online tools that can facilitate our job. Let me share some of those with you guys. Some of these ideas will be accompanied by very practical sites or online sites, and some are simply general ideas that you can incorporate both face-to-face or online. Let's go through them and let's explore them together, guys. So one of the first things that I want to explore is this idea. I found this idea that is like space repetition. Now that we are working online, yes, is that sometimes we would like everything to be done, and that is not possible all the times, guys. So we need to use the concept of space repetition. So basically it means that at some point we need to review material with students. Yes, the concept here reads that reviewing the material at space intervals at some point, every week, every 2 weeks, every now and then, obviously depending on your own calendars, it's actually more effective than try to, mash everything into a single session. Sometimes it's just so much information. And so one of the things that I want to also share here is like, you need to prioritize content. There is only so much you can do in a certain amount of time, especially online. Yeah, so you need to make sure that you ask yourselves the question, can my students handle this much information? I want my students to learn 20 verbs in a 45-minute lesson. Is that doable? Yes, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It depends on the level, it depends on so many factors, but you need to really think about that. And if the answer is no, then you need to make sure that maybe you give the first part of that session that day, and then at some point, maybe 2 weeks later, you revise that, and then you incorporate the other pieces of information. So space repetition is something that helps a lot online. So giving your students the possibility to recycle information before they incorporate new information, yes, in there. And then the next one, and I was mentioning this as one of the most important cognitive ideas, is to make notes. Making notes is very important because basically we need to have a record, yes, of what we are looking at. Yes, I really like this. I found this and I really love the way they worded it. They say that when we actually create our own version, yes, of what we are listening to or reading or studying, yes, it becomes more meaningful and memorable than someone else's. Yes, if you're listening to me right now, maybe you are making some notes and you are just typing keywords or writing keywords, because I'm sure that those keywords will be more relevant to yourself than the rest of the words that I'm actually using here. And the one, yes, actually, we have like 20 apps for making notes, but this is the easiest to use. So try and use this one, and I'm giving you the link in here. I will make sure that my supervisor shares even the material with you. Evernote is the best option. It's like simply making notes in your mobile phone, but this takes it to the further, yes, stage. Because basically you can organize things with diagrams. It allows you basically to organize everything with pictures, not just words, yes? It gives you different templates that you can use. You can actually select different templates that you can utilize and explore and exploit depending on your own needs. And if templates that you see there are not good enough, this site allows you, yes, to create your own notes in whatever way, yes, you wish or is better for you. So please make notes, yes, explore this one, yes, because it's going to be quite useful, yes, to explore, making notes. It's going to be quite useful. So basically what you could do is that you can ask your students to create their own account, or when you actually, create some notes for a lesson, you can create a summarized version. You can share these with every single student, yes, with a click, yes, of a button in here. You have created everything, and then simply you share the note, yes, with everyone else. It's like when we have this WhatsApp group, guys, we simply send this, yes, to everyone in the group, and voila, everyone has the notes, yes. So please explore this one, because making notes is one of the most important strategies nowadays that we have online. But that's not everything. We were saying that one, yes, of the strategies, social strategies, interacting with other people, yes. So basically we need to make sure that we promote some discussion time. Because basically the idea here is that when we meet a peer, when we meet an equal, yes, and we talk about what we just heard, we can actually elaborate on the ideas, and suddenly they make better sense. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. I mean, I didn't get that, or I had not thought about it. So basically, when we are actually interacting, yes, wow, it's basically a very good idea, yes, to do that. All right, so basically, I mean, and the two best, I mean, I think that these are the most used, yes, platforms at the moment. Yes, Zoom and Google Meet. Yes, you can actually organize meeting very easily. And you might think, yeah, but I mean, sometimes they can be expensive. Not really. Yeah, both actually have free versions, and Zoom gives you 45-minute, slots for you to interact with your students or with peers. Yes, and that's very good. Every 45 minutes, or you can organize meetings of 30 minutes, and you will have no interruptions at all. But if you organize something longer, it's as simple as closing and opening it again. So these two are the best platforms for you to interact with students. What we could do, for example, is that maybe we can organize meetings for, a discussion of homework, yes, discussion of certain topics that maybe were difficult for students, yes, or simply revisiting, yes, information in general. So give your students and give yourselves the opportunity to discuss. This is promoting these social, strategies. You are not alone, and there is no way that you have to be alone. Yes, promote interaction, among teachers and among students. This is really important. I'm sure you are already doing it, but if you haven't, these two platforms definitely are the best for you to try that. And one of the problems that we have as teachers is like, we need to plan, and we need to plan everything. Yeah. So something that you might want to use for planning purposes is, they call it Monday.com. It's a very nice kind of calendar-like planner, because we need to plan everything. Yes, so we need to organize everything, even for students' purposes. Yes, they can be part of this, and they can take a look at the syllabus, they can take a look at the calendars. Yes, it will be a very nice reminder for them when to submit a piece of homework, when to submit the last project that they were working on. Yes, so we need to plan, plan, and plan. So obviously we need to use, yes, these online planners that are out there. Obviously, yes, all of these options that I'm giving you guys require that you open an account. But once you have it, it takes you 5 minutes, 10 minutes to open accounts in all of these options. And once you have them, oh my God, they will actually save a lot of time, because you don't have to come to your piece of paper and then transfer it to your computer and then transfer it to someone else. No, everything will be in just one place. So using Monday.com actually will surprise you. It's very, very useful. And something else that I mentioned before is that you need to promote interaction with your students. Yes, you need to actually be, they need to be able, yes, to interact a lot with you. And obviously, for us to do this, we need to make sure that materials themselves are interactive. Yes, we need to make sure that whenever we are sharing something with our students, it's not just from a viewer point of view. It could be actually done from a maybe, like editor point of view. And let's try this. I want to give this a go. And you see here something that I call a Google Jamboard link. So let's try this very quickly so you see how interactive one activity can be. I will stop sharing this just for a second because I want all of us to do this activity. I will share, yes, the activity. I will explain what you have to do, and then we will do it together. And let's see how we feel interacting with it, all right? So let me stop sharing this, and I will share the other activity that I have here. Hopefully you should be able to see, you know, the activity now. Can anyone tell me that you see the board now? Is this what you are looking at? Just confirming. Okay, they say yes, thank you very much. All right, so let's work on this. And what you have to do is quite simple. Here you have, yes, just to add adjectives that you think define your current online teaching and learning. And I have two already. Maybe you think that your current activities are a little bit mechanical, or maybe you think that maybe they are very visual. What I want you to do, I will send you the link to everybody, yes, is that you need to go here on the left side of your screen. You will see something that reads sticky note. Yes, take one of the sticky notes, and I want you to write any adjective that you think applies to how your current online teaching, on learning, yes, is. Don't worry if you see that one board, yes, has a lot of adjectives already. You can easily move to board number 2 or board number 3. Yes, they are exactly the same, but if you see that you don't have enough room in one, simply go to the other one. That's okay. I will give everyone only 2 minutes for you to write adjectives, and then we will take a look at those adjectives and we will have a conversation reacting to all of those. All right, so you will only have 2 minutes. So let me share this in the chat box for everybody. So you should see the link right now. Can you see the link in the chat box? And please go there. All right, so if you are there, can you tell me that you could open the link? Can anyone tell me, please? Thank you, Patricia. Yes, excellent. So you have 2 minutes. I will just close my microphone. Enjoy. Very good ideas already, guys. 1 more minute. Keep on. You are doing it very well. All right, please stop there. Thank you very much for all your participation. I'm going to share my screen with that you produce, all right? Oh, wow. Oh, you did have fun and you're still having fun. Oh my God, excellent. I see billions of words over there, yes. Some are kind of positive, some are a little bit negative, but that's okay. So basically, I mean, more than the activity itself, more than the thinking about adjectives, whether they were positive or negative. So how did this make you feel? It was only 2 minutes, but it was only 2 minutes that actually you participated in the task, you were part of this. It was not actually me giving you maybe 50 good, wonderful adjectives. I just gave you 2, yes, and then you created the rest. You were part of the activity. So this is what I meant when we were referring to interactive tasks. So make sure that tasks obviously are promoting learning, and you need to be guiding students, but make sure that the students are part of what they produce. So when they do this, they will have fun. I see the word fun, yes, and different, even very positive words in here: relevant, creative, engaging. Yes, it's different. Yes, it's interesting. I see the word creative. Yes, exhausting. Yeah, it could be exhausting too. But believe me, we need to make sure that there is this interaction. We need to promote this interaction with the students. Okay, I will stop sharing this and I will come back to my PowerPoint presentation. Okay, let me come back to that. Here we were. So we were talking about that, yes, basically promoting interaction is very important. We just experienced that. So this is a moment for you to tell me how this mini task made you feel. Was that relevant? Was it at all useful? And do you think that this is doable with our students? I would like to see some of your comments. Again, 1 or 2 minutes. This will be the second opportunity for me to interact with you. So was this useful at all? Okay, Antonio says, yes, it was. It was more interactive. Yes, that's the idea. Yes, Mariana says, yes, it is fun. They really enjoy using the app, and many others. Yes, absolutely. Isabel says, yes, easy and fun. Yes, and sometimes this is key, Isabel. Sometimes we think that some of the tools online are very difficult to incorporate, and they're not. Actually, creating this Jamboard, I need to confess, took me 3 minutes. Or maybe less than that. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Opening, Google Jamboard, creating the file. Yes, it takes you minutes, 2 minutes. And obviously, the more practice, yes, you have, it can actually take you less. Obviously, the more sophisticated the task, the longer it will take you. But once it's created, oh my God, it can do wonders. Yvonne says, definitely, they are useful. They involve students and make students interact, yes, with each other, definitely. Let me read another person from Universidad de Salamanca. Interaction is very important. It is key. I think that interaction is key, especially nowadays. We need to give our students that possibility. They are listening to us all the time. So, and sometimes I'm sure that they don't want to listen to us for a while and they want to interact a little bit, right? Patricia Garcia says, yes, it gives the opportunity to get their attention again. Yes, yeah, we can actually use this in that way, Patricia. So if we see that, for example, the rhythm of the lesson is coming, yes, to a very passive motion, we can introduce an interactive activity to boost, their energy as well. So that's a very good idea, Patricia. Thank you very much. And Isabel says, great that it's free. Yes, it is. Yes, many tools are free. Yes, and that's why we need to actually take advantage of all of this, because most of these tools definitely, yes, are free. If you want to go to the kind of pro versions of some of these, you have to pay, but it also depends on how much you're going to use it. But most of the free versions, they are very, very useful, and they will give you 80, if not 90% of its features. So you don't have to worry about that. So Eduardo says, all that is okay, but I think learning is a personal decision. Definitely. Teachers help, but the learner make it funny or boring. Yeah, I agree with you, Eduardo. Obviously, that's why we need to try and get our students involved in such a way that sometimes we also cater to their needs, Eduardo, because that's an interesting point that you mentioned. Sometimes they might find even this Jamboard activity boring. So obviously, yes, the suggestion here is you need to be, creative. You cannot use Jamboard every day, because the most creative task can actually become boring if it's repeated every day. So I think that the key here is variety. I think that that's an important point. Thank you for the comment. Yes, Mariana says, it's useful. I have used Google presentations and asked students, yes, to put their names on top of the page and we're there. It's fun. Thank you very much. Excellent. Thank you for your comments, guys. Yes, I will just continue giving you some general ideas for you to incorporate in your teaching. So obviously, guys, sometimes we are not experts, right? So we say like, yeah, Ricardo, there are so many tools, but I mean, do I need to learn? Well, yeah, so it's part of now working online. So obviously you need to make sure that you meet technical requirements. And believe me, my best friend last year is YouTube. Why? Because obviously I remember, yes, and my supervisor can actually second the motion after my presentation. When we started working online, we were no experts at all, guys. And obviously all of us teachers were asked, yes, to watch tutorials. And right now, for example, here I have the link to tutorial on Evernote. It's like, yeah, Ricardo, you are actually suggesting that I use Evernote. You're actually suggesting that I use this and that, but I don't know how to use it. It takes usually 8 minutes to watch a tutorial. That's kind of the standard time that most tutorials, last. And after watching this, is like, you will get surprised that most of these, tutorials are easy to digest and easy to actually follow. And again, you can find tutorials even in Spanish, yeah, because these tutorials can even be shared to your students or maybe with colleagues whose level of English is not very high. Yes, but you can actually find them in all languages. Yeah, but please make sure that you actually watch these. Remember that as an online learner or teacher, we need to have a basic level of technical savvy as we read it here. We need to have basic understanding, yes, of what we are doing online. So how do we become experts? Well, we become experts by actually learning new things, trying new things, watch tutorials. Sometimes we actually invest longer, yes, watching maybe a Netflix episode on our favorite series. Yeah, maybe that's quite interesting, and I'm not suggesting otherwise. But I mean, part of that time can be invested definitely in learning how to use a new tool that we can use with our students. Yes, I'm not saying actually don't watch the other one, because actually it's quite useful. I have my favorite ones as well. All right. And then obviously at some point, guys, you need to be constantly assessing. All of these tools are very important, but constantly you need to make sure that you are, evaluating your progress and helping your students evaluate their progress as well. So basically we need to make sure, yes, that we are assessing our personal, studying behavior. I really like. So these are some questions that you can use or your students can use, yes, to constantly be, assessing how much they are learning, especially online, yes. And things like, for example, do you create a schedule for your study time? Sometimes we just want to study anytime, and maybe that's not the best thing. Maybe you know better that you study better in the morning or at a certain hour, maybe before eating, because maybe after eating you feel like taking a nap. So you need to actually study, study and react to that. You need to react to your own needs and to your students' needs and help them react to that as well. So we have interesting questions. I actually found, yes, like 50 questions. These were the most actually useful, I think. And one of the questions that also got my attention was, do you get distracted while studying? I'm sure the kind of answer to most in this case is yes. So what are you doing about it? Yes, what are you really doing to make sure that your concentration is maximized and distraction minimized? What are you really doing about it? And the last question is one that I really love. How do you plan for your studies when something goes wrong? So if something is going wrong, what do you do? Do you ask for help? Do you use another app? Or do you simply give up? Those are parts of our studying behaviors. And especially online, we need to be even more aware of what's happening. Yes, am I really benefit from this? Yes, like this app is not working for me. Let me try another one. But then we need to be aware that we need to actually react to what's happening. So check your studying behavior constantly, guys. And again, part of planning, yes, or I would say that it's incorporated into planning is prioritizing. So, and we need to plan again, we need to prioritize. Sometimes we need to make sure that when we are planning, we need to distinguish between, the very important and the things that can wait. And another useful, app, yes, that you can use is Trello.com. I really, really love this one. Again, it helps you calendarize, it helps you prioritize. It will allow you to see some different, sections where you can actually prioritize, yes, your task from very important to maybe least important. That's another one. So make sure that by prioritizing, yes, you will actually tackle tasks that need your attention immediately first, and then you will work on the others, yes, depending on how they are moving up in the ladder, priority, yes. So basically, I mean, these are some ideas, guys. So based on all of this, based on the different tips and the websites and the different kinds of strategies that we have been talking about, I have another question for you. And again, this will be the third and last time in which I will react to your comments directly. So this is the question that I have for you guys. Based on previously mentioned ideas, so what should we avoid as a successful online learner? What should we avoid doing? Yes, so again, I will give you the chance to react to this. Yeah, so I will read your comments as usual, and I will react to them. So based on all of these kinds of strategies, based on all of these maybe websites or apps that I have mentioned, yes, for you to explore, yes, and exploit. So what should we avoid doing? Shomara says procrastinate. Yes, number one problem. Yes, so basically, if we don't plan, it's easier to procrastinate, believe it or not, because there is no way you have a visual representation of what you have to do. Yeah, so, but if you have it written, and if you have even disconnected to your, like mobile alarms, yes, it's going to be easier for you to do things. Yeah, procrastinate is what we definitely, yes, need to avoid doing. Patricia says distraction. Yes, that's another thing. And again, we avoid, yes, distractions by incorporating more, dynamics, yes, in the classroom. Yes, and Georgina says using the same tools. Yes, you need to offer variety. Yes, you need to make sure that you explore different ideas, different apps, different concepts, because you will be learning all of this. Somebody from Universidad de Salamanca says to avoid only teacher speaking. Yes, please. I know that maybe you're saying, yeah, Ricardo, but you are doing the talking right now. Well, this is a webinar, it's a different concept, but in a lesson, definitely the focus of attention, the kings of the classroom should be your students. You give the instructions, you give the task, and then go away, let them work, and then react to what they did, help them discover possible mistakes, help them grow, and then go away. Yes, they are definitely the stars of the show, so definitely we need to avoid this. Marina says we need to avoid being repetitive and to avoid distractions. Yes. Juan Sonda says, yes, improvisation. This is a very interesting one. Yes. I think that this is, I don't know, this is a common one. I think that students can perceive when you are not ready, when you did not prepare something. So definitely you need to make sure that you prepare your materials, yes, with plenty of time, because yeah, students are very clever nowadays. So try not to improvise, definitely. Yes, Isabel says, always talks to students by name. It's easier via online. Yeah, I see your point, definitely, Isabel. Yes, we need to actually address students by their names, because when we are talking to them, they pay more attention if we do so. Yes. Okay, avoid focusing only in academic content. Yeah, okay, we can adapt these strategies to check wellness. Yeah, I agree. In this sense, we keep balance between cognitive skills and social-emotional skills. Oh, thank you, Yvonne. We are now even using, yes, the terminology that we saw today. Excellent. Yes. Not everything is academic. Remember, there must be opportunities for you to come back to your social strategies, come back to your emotional strategies. Remember that you constantly need to be taking, yes, your emotional temperature. Yes. So make sure that at different points in the lesson, maybe you stop and ask your students, are you okay? Just that question can actually make a difference. Yes, because you're checking how they're feeling. Are you too tired? Shall we take a 2-minute break? Yeah, and maybe you actually tell them a joke, and then that breaks the whole thing, and then they are ready for another 15 minutes, yes, of work. So that's great. So we need to constantly be coming back to our social-emotional skills. That's a very good comment, Yvonne. Thank you very much. All right, guys. So basically, I'm going to summarize what we need to avoid, definitely based on what we, checked before. Let's come back here to the presentation. So based on this, we need to avoid the following, guys. Not having a designated study place. Why? Because this comes with distractions. You need to make sure that your students and you as the teachers have a designated space to complete assignments, to study, yes, because basically we want to minimize distractions. If you work in an area where obviously distractions will be just 1 meter away from you, I'm not sure that's going to be quite productive. Remember, we need to try and minimize distractions, not actually incorporate more distractions in our studying or teaching time. So we need to try to be efficient. Yes, we need to be in the zone, as it reads here. Yes, if I am in my teaching zone, then my teaching zone needs to have a minimal number of distractions, definitely. Yes. And the next one is super important as well. Remember that I was talking about, yes, promoting interaction. So the one thing that we need to avoid is not being an active participant. You need to make sure that you give your students a chance to participate. The more they participate, yes, the less they will distract. You know that if you are not actually giving your students a chance to participate, they will actually resource to maybe their mobile phone, or maybe they're watching other people around them. So they need to be engaged. Yeah, it's very easy to disengage, believe me. So you need to also promote this ability to connect with them, yes, actively. Yes, and if you cannot do that, email your tutors, email your classmates, exchange ideas, yes, because you need to try, you as a teacher and your students, to be as active participants as possible in any given course, definitely. Yes, and the last comment is kind of something that I created myself based on our feelings, yes, especially now in the middle of a pandemic situation, guys. Yes, we need to try and avoid feeling overwhelmed. I think that nowadays we are getting to a limit, like say, like, yes, I've had enough of this online situation. Take it easy, guys. We need to keep the end in mind, and the end is teaching, helping our students learn, yes, and be better, not just better students, but better people in the world, guys. So please make sure that you schedule video calls with friends or family to maintain the social aspect of your life. That's also important. We need to be, socially healthy to then actually be, yes, teaching healthy, so to speak, when we are working. Attend virtual office hours to have more health, basically. And remember something, the last part is really, really my thinking at the moment. Remember that this is temporary, guys. Yes, hopefully, yes, we're getting there, yes. I know that all of us are desperate actually to maybe get the vaccine to put an end to this, but it's only temporary. Please take a deep breath. And that's my invitation at the moment. Everyone, please take a deep breath with me. Let it go. And please remember this, it's only temporary. It's going to be better. Yes. But in the meantime, guys, we need actually to make the most of our teaching and learning online. Yes. I really hope that these 45 minutes, 50 minutes were useful for you guys. So these are only some suggestions. Again, if you want some more suggestions, definitely we should consider a second, yes, part of this, because there is so much out there. Again, when I was preparing this, I found like 20, yes, strategies or 30 strategies in some other, websites. So, oh my God, like there is only so much we can do in 45 minutes. And one of the things that I mentioned is actually prioritizing. So there is only so much content people can actually take in. So the last thing I say, guys, is thank you very much for your attention. I really hope that the apps, yes, that I mentioned are really useful, yes, to your teaching and to you. Yes, definitely. So Orlando, now the floor is yours. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share with teachers. It's definitely a pleasure. Yes, definitely helping others. Yes, and being useful at some point in life. Thank you, Orlando. All yours.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So thank you, Ricardo. Thank you very much for your time. It's always great to have people like Ricardo, coming and help us with the webinars, because, like you guys are saying, I think it's all very useful. This is a topic that, again, is very relevant to our learners, to the new reality, and, simply just to make sure that you're getting some new apps, some new skills, some new ideas, for how to improve our practice moving forward, right? So if there were any of you that maybe couldn't write your question because, you were paying attention to Ricardo so well and intently that you couldn't ask questions in the Q's and A's, remember, you could just go back to, just go to the section right at the bottom for Q's and A's. And then, you could ask your questions over there. Ricardo is still going to stay with us for just brief 5-10 minutes to see if you've got any questions. In the meantime, while Ricardo, while you go and maybe write some questions in the Q's and A's that maybe you want Ricardo to answer while he's still with us. In the meantime, I would just like to, again, if you couldn't make it to the last webinar, this is something that we talked about in the last webinar, but if you didn't make it, that's fine. This is what we're announcing officially. We are going to be having this great speaker, sorry, with us, joining very soon for the official launch of the new first degrees. Remember that as an international university that we are, we offer first degree programs, but now we are also going to be offering a master's degree in educational leadership, right? So in teaching and educational leadership. And we have this great star. We are incredibly proud to have this incredibly inspirational speaker, Paul Davidescu. He is very passionate about innovation and entrepreneurial efforts, especially during times of crisis, like quite coincidentally, it's the case right now because of COVID-19. Paul is going to join us to give a talk to teachers, directors, owners, school directors, school coordinators, school owners, school teachers, pretty much anybody and whoever would like to know more about innovation in relation to the current crisis, how we could go about innovating, from very different perspectives in relation to education, where things are going in the future, and potentially, this new digitalization of the world moving on, moving forward to the new era, right? And while Ricardo was saying, yes, we all want to go back to face-to-face everything, like hugging each other and teaching face-to-face, like maybe not so much of like social distance and stuff, but we also want to make sure that we are preparing for maybe this new digitalized world, right? Victor is asking about getting the first degree in English language teaching. Come to the talk on that day. The talk is going to be next week. That's going to be March the 18th, and that's going to be the official launch of 2 new BA programs. We are already running, a flexible first degree program that is only 1 year long, but we're going to be launching 2 new programs, two new first degree programs, like bachelor's degree, for a total of three first degrees, like 3 BA programs. And also we're going to be talking about our first, and we're incredibly proud of that, our first master's degree program in teaching and educational leadership, right? So Victor and whoever else is interested in this, just like come and join us March the 18th. Yes, we'll be looking forward to having you there, Victor. How do you get into the event? Please reach out to your International House advisor, International House University advisor. Reach out to them by email, because this is only through invitation, right? So we need to make sure that it's still a closed event because of the speaker that we're bringing. So just reach out to your International House University advisor, right? And they'll be happy to sign you up for that. All righty. So I don't know if we have any questions. Do we have any questions from the floor, Ricardo? Have you checked if we do have any questions in the Q&As, or were you so good that it was so clear that we have no questions?
Apparently it was very useful and so clear, yes. Or maybe the other maybe is that they are very shy to ask questions, but I really hope that it was very clear, because I see no questions really. But thank you very much for everything.
All right. Well, yeah, it seems we don't have any questions to the floor, from the floor. So Mariana, super clear and interesting, fantastic. So before you go, so we're going to let you go. But before you do, remember that we're always super interested in hearing what you have to say, right? So we prepared this Google form. It's there in the chat. If you could just go there and give us your, your thoughts on whether you absolutely loved it, whether you absolutely would say, yes, Ricardo, never come back, kind of thing, right? Or if you actually, enjoy the session and you would like to have a sequel to this, you were talking about, Ricardo was talking about like having a sequel to this. So just let us know. We take feedback incredibly seriously. Remember that we are planning, as we speak, we are planning the second season of webinars moving forward. We're going to put a pause to the first season of webinars towards July, because we know it's summer season. People don't want to have these webinars anymore. It's a summer. We should enjoy our summer. But then we're coming back in September for more, right? So we're really preparing all of these like cool ideas of webinars, of things that we could run. But to do that, we need your feedback, right? So please, if you could just go and spare 2 minutes, go to the feedback form. It's right here in the chat. If you could just go spare 2 minutes, we'll highly, truly appreciate it. Okay. And I guess that's all for now. Ricardo, any final words?
Yes, of course. The two main things that I want to say. Number one, guys, remember that as we are working online, take this as an opportunity to learn. Yes, I have actually learned a lot, and I would say like maybe much more in the last year than probably in the previous 3 or 4 years altogether. I think that this was something that we were going to do anyways, guys. At some point, we were going to digitalize things. Yes, but I mean, the pandemic, one of the good things, I mean, I don't want to obviously minimize what the pandemic means, but I mean, the good things of it is like actually is pushing us to being better and to learning new things. So my message is please take advantage of this, guys. We are home, we have the time. Maybe, I don't know, when we can come back to face, we might not have the same time again. We need to commute, we need to come back to other activities that used to happen face to face. So take advantage of this, guys. And again, I mean, the second thing, Orlando, thank you very much for the invitation. And again, guys, hello to everywhere you are. Yes, I mean, and the best for you and your families at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, so if you like Ricardo, you want him to come back again, go to the feedback form and say, yes, we want Ricardo back, or a different topic altogether, right? So thank you very much, guys. It was great to have you today. And remember, mark it, save the day, put in your agenda, March the 18th, Thursday, 5 p.m. Contact your International House University advisor, and they'll be happy to give you the invitation, the official invitation to the talk. And again, remember how you can reach us out, how you can reach out to us, sorry. You've got the TTTMX at International House Mexico, the Media Room, and also the YouTube channel. All right. So thank you, guys. Have a great one. Stay safe. That's very important. And till next time. All right. Thank you, guys. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.